And welcome to a very special bonus edition of Geekdom 101 Q&A, where I answer your questions from the ask.fm, ask.fm/Geekdom101. And joining me on this bonus edition of Geekdom Q&A, a very special, very special man in many ways, near and dear to my heart, and I mean that very sincerely. The first guy I ever collabed with, and I will continue to, and I just did a Q&A on his channel. So go check it out. And we're talking Dragon Ball, our favorite show. Please welcome once again Super Jayain from Space Australia.
Hello there, beautiful friends from around the world. I will be your guest, Super Jayain. It's good to be here today.
Oh my God, Jayain uploaded.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. Hey, come on, I upload more than one, does a hell of a lot more. Love you, Juan.
Yeah. When was the last time you talked to that insufferable son of a bitch?
A couple of days ago, I think.
I haven't
About 3 or 4 days ago. Maybe 3 or 4 days ago.
I have not had a long conversation with him in a while, man. Because he has that weird sleep schedule where he'll wake up at like 5 in the morning and then just call you out of the blue. Like, Juan,
Yeah.
BLACKENFIST just call you.
I'm waiting for a random call from Juan. Any second. You know, he might call us during this Ask FM. You just never know.
He just calls, bro. Tit, 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 tit.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. And then it's usually him with his brother in the room or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So we're talking about Dragon Ball Super. And Dragon Ball altogether here in this Q&A. And what I'm going to do this time, Jay, is I'm just going to pick random questions. We're just going to go up and down. I'm not going to go bottom to up because I don't want to go all the way back to the old questions. I want to answer some newer questions too. So,
Yep.
And you're on here too, so here we go. Let's go ahead and get started with actually the question of the day. What's the craziest thing you've done for someone you love? Craziest thing I've ever done for someone I love is let somebody else I love go. What do you? What about you?
Well, I've never been in love with a girl before, and I mean that. So, no, I legitimately mean that. Like, I could not tell you I can never say I've been in love with a girl. So,
have you been infatuated?
Yeah, infatuated. Probably bought a chick flowers and jewelry, all that sort of shit.
So you can't answer that. That's all right.
Nah, not honestly, no.
All right. Well, I respect that, Jay. Your time will come. Which Dragon Ball movie villain would you have liked to have seen in the anime replacing another villain? Now, that's a tough one. See, there's a lot I would like to see in the anime, but replacing another villain?
See, I don't want him to replace another villain because I like the villains we have.
Agreed.
I mean, you know, Fat Boo is one of those villains I don't really like, but he does have his place in the series, especially now. He's part of the permanent cast, but I just felt like he was the stupidest of the characters, and if I was going to replace anyone, it'd be him because he just doesn't fit into the serious tone of, like, Dragon Ball it's a funny show. It's not always serious, but Z is the most serious portion of the show, and I feel like Fat Boo kind of detracts from the seriousness of that arc. So I would replace Fat Boo with maybe someone, maybe Cooler, because Cooler I feel like could fit into the lore quite well, being Frieza's brother and all that sort of thing. That'd be pretty cool.
I agree. That'd be a good one. I actually always liked Dr. Weedle. And I love the concept. Even though I know he wouldn't have been a long-term villain, I would have liked him to get his own story arc rather than Garlic Jr. I like him, and I like the concept of the Tree of Godly Might also. Like there's good concepts there. I think Cooler probably would be the best choice. I'll bet you at least half the people watching this are going to say Broly. But I want to actually send that question down to the comment section. What Dragon Ball movie villain would you have liked to have seen in the anime replacing another villain?
And if you are going to pick Broly, please give us a reason other than he's buff and he has infinite power, because he's the fucking most boring villain in the entire series. He has no motives, and he's been given 3 movies due to just fucking popular demand. He sucks.
Yeah,
so, you heard it first.
You've heard it. We've heard it a bunch of times. The thing is, though, about Broly is that, okay, you make a good point, but I'll play devil's advocate. If he was a villain in the series, he would probably get more development because they'd have to fill in more time. So there is that.
Yeah, I just feel like, though, he is not an enjoyable character to watch. I feel like he's overpowered for no reason. You know, they talk about the legendary Super Saiyan, and they're usually referring to regular Super Saiyan, so his whole origin story just doesn't make sense to me from what we know. Vegeta refers to himself as the legendary Super Saiyan in Resurrection of Earth, or for Cartoon Earth in the Japanese dub. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. He just doesn't fit into the lore very well to me, and I just think he's a boring character.
I respect that. Does Toei have to have Toriyama's approval before commissioning any Dragon Ball related anime such as Kai, GT, and Super, or is it Toei's call? Toei has the distribution rights to the Dragon Ball anime, so theoretically and technically they don't have to get Toriyama's approval to do anything as far as releasing it. However, Toriyama is so respected amongst Toei circles and amongst Japan in general that he pretty much does call the shots. So
I'm pretty sure that they don't go to him for all the Dragon Ball Heroes characters that they create. They just do that themselves.
Yeah, and that's Namco Bandai. That's a whole other company too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure they don't go to him and say, "Hey, so we're doing this this manga adaptation of this movie with Toyotaro." I mean, I know that he likes Toyotaro, but I don't know if it was Toriyama's call to pick Toyotaro. So yeah, that's usually how it is. Go ahead and take this one, Jay, from Samuel Austin Brown.
Is there any scene in the entire Dragon Ball series that you like better in the English dub than the Japanese dub? I do like the filler scene where, well, it's not a filler scene as far as I can remember, where Vegeta's, just trying to think, it wouldn't be in the manga as far as I can remember, but it is in Kai. I like the scene where Vegeta's getting out of the shower and he says, "Servant woman, bring me a drying cloth at once." I love that scene in the English dub where he's just screaming at Bulma. And then even in Kai, he goes, "Bulmoose, I'm addressing you." He doesn't even know what her name is. He's calling her by the fucking wrong name. So I always like that scene in both dubs. A serious scene maybe I liked in the English dub. That's a tough one. I feel like they did do a good job of Super Saiyan 3 Goku's transformation against Majin Buu. That was pretty good.
But do you like it better than the Japanese?
I don't like it better than the Japanese. I can't honestly, watching both series, I can't really say there's a scene that the English dub has done better, to be perfectly honest.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's been scenes where I've liked them equal, but there's never been a time where the English dub has surpassed the original to me, just because there's too many factors that go into it. There's voice acting, there's music, there's the placement of the music. And I just feel like the Japanese does that really, really well, and the English is always a little bit off in parts. So
yeah, the thing with me is with that question is I don't know about individual scenes, but definitely individual lines. Even though I hate script changes, and everybody knows I do, there are some that I find comical. For example, when Frieza says, "All hail Vegeta, Prince of No One," that's a great line. I love that line. The Resurrection have had a few of those fun lines like that. They are changes, which I don't like, but they're fun lines. Of course, the Ocean dub had tons of them, like when Nappa said, when Radix got shot by Piccolo and he goes, "You seem to have singed some of my leg hair." Like, stuff like that makes me laugh. Keep your eye on the birdie, and the way his voice was, it's very funny. Like, there are lines in the original Ocean dub that are so funny because, I mean, they're not in the Japanese one, but they're so comical. They're not meant to be funny, but they're so wacky. Like when Goku tells Berter and Jace, or Jis and Bata, if you want to go Japanese, he tells them, "I'm not afraid of dreams." Like, just shit like that. That's just, yeah. Sebastian, well, okay, let me delete this question. Next question, Sebastian Salazar. Danny, if you were to make your own manga, would you make it similar to Dragon Ball, a shonen manga, or something else? I think I would. What would you do?
I don't really read any other manga, so I would have a hard time believing that anything I wrote, if I was capable of writing a good story and drawing art, I think I wouldn't be able to help but take inspiration from Dragon Ball, because it's the only anime and the only manga that I read. So you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that there'd be anything I could take inspiration from. If I was taking inspiration for anything outside of Dragon Ball, it'd probably be stuff like Final Fantasy and all that sort of stuff.
But would you make it a shonen manga? Like, if you were in charge of one? I'm assuming you would. I would, probably, for the money too.
Yeah, probably.
Is it wrong to love Dragon Ball GT because I love it as much as DBZ? Anyways, love your channel, man. Well, thank you. Is it wrong to love GT, Jay?
I don't think so. GT, I like my view on canon and non-canon has really changed since Super's come out. As I've said before, the whole canon debate's fucking stupid in my opinion. It's just one of those things. Super has a manga adaptation. The manga adaptation is completely different from the Dragon Ball Super series in many ways. So I don't really consider GT non-canon. It's an official GT. It's an official Dragon Ball story that's licensed by Toei. That's the way I look at it, and I enjoy it. And I'm happy with what Toriyama said, that he considers it like an alternate, like, kind of side story. I'm happy with that. I even if Super never connects the dots, which I don't expect it to. I would be happy to still have GT as a side story, and it's kind of, I don't see it as a guilty pleasure. I just enjoy watching it. I kind of enjoy watching it as a side story for what it is.
It's not as good as Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z by any means, but if you love it, I mean, I can never knock a fan for loving something Dragon Ball. Even if you love Absalon, I mean, you and I have talked about it before, and Xeon has very strong opinions of it. I have no issue with Absalon if you look at it for what it is, okay? For what it is. But even if you love Absalon and somebody else doesn't, or if you love Team 4-Star and somebody else doesn't, and I have no problem with your opinion, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just one of those things. It's personal preference, and if you hate GT, you have to have some legitimate reasons for it. I mean, GT's really done nothing wrong as far as I'm concerned, and the whole Goku becoming a kid thing is a bit of a cop-out. I mean, he was a kid in Dragon Ball, and look how successful Dragon Ball was. So, yeah, I just think GT, you either love it or you hate it. That's fine.
All right, take this question right here, Jay. We got Caleb Brookmeyer with a few questions here.
All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z? I'd give Dragon Ball probably an 8.5 or a 9, and I'd probably give Z like a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10. Z loses points because it creates a lot more plot holes and inconsistencies in the story than Dragon Ball does. And Dragon Ball seems to flow better as a continuous story than Z. Z has a lot of continuity errors as well. So, whilst my favorite portion of the show remains Z, I do enjoy Dragon Ball, and I know a fair bit about Dragon Ball, and I'm well aware of what happens in Dragon Ball. And I think Dragon Ball all around, even though I prefer the Z segment of the show, I think Dragon Ball is a better story in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a better standalone. I agree. Yeah, I agree with what you said pretty much. Who is your favorite character in manga, comic, anime, cartoon history? Caleb also. What was your favorite character? Because I don't even know, man.
In anime, it's obviously Vegeta, and it's a bit of a cop-out answer for me to say that. The reason being is because I haven't watched any other animes, and I probably never will. I'm just not interested. So Vegeta's definitely my favorite anime character. Comic book character is Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm not really into. See, I like the Amazing Spider-Man, the Spectacular Spider-Man, but I'm not really into Ultimate Spider-Man, and then the Spider-Man where and I'm not being racist. It was just Peter Parker for me. Even though it's a different character, you know, Spider-Man for me was always a white guy. So when when it wasn't Peter Parker and he became a black guy, I lost a little bit of interest. And also no, that's just the way. Like I always viewed that character as Peter Parker. So it wasn't even the fact that there was a race change. It was more that it wasn't Peter Parker anymore. And then when Dr. Octopus took over Spider-Man's conscious, and Dr. Octopus was actually Spider-Man, that just became too convoluted for me, and I didn't like it. I do also like Spider-Man 2099.
Really?
Yeah. But and then in video games, my favorite character of all time is Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII.
Okay. I guess for me, I don't know about favorite character. I mean, I love Luke Skywalker. I love Frieza as a villain. I love Thanos as a villain. They're very similar. I love Wolverine and Gambit. And I like Spider-Man too, actually. Batman, of course, is awesome. I used to really hate Superman. I don't hate him anymore, but it's just very hard to write good stories. But there are a lot of good stories, Superman. But I don't know if he's one of my favorites. So I guess that would be kind of it. Like, he also said cartoon history, so I guess he also means like American cartoons. And I love Homer Simpson seasons 1 through 10, and then he got really retarded. Did you ever notice, Jay, that I don't know what happened, man, but somewhere around season like 13, like Homer got like really, really dumb, and like Dan Castellaneta's performance kind of got worse. Did you ever pick up on that?
I think it's one of those things. The longer any sitcom or TV show goes on, or cartoon, just anything in general, the longer it goes on, the worse it gets, because it's just you become too used to the characters and the atmosphere of the show, and they struggle to come up with original ideas and original content. So I think Simpsons is. I lost interest in Simpsons years ago.
Me too.
I don't even enjoy it anymore. I don't watch Family Guy or American Dad, but I know very, very much from speaking to my friends that do that it's the same deal with shows like Family Guy and American Dad. That the shows, it's gotten worse and worse. Same with South Park. So it's just one of those things. I think the longer something goes on, the more the creators struggle to come up with original content. And that's why, even though I love Dragon Ball Super, I think you will agree with me, Dragon Ball Super is going to have trouble reaching the heights that Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z did, because the longer something goes on, the harder it is for it to come up with good content.
No, absolutely, and it is. It's very tough. We talked about that before the show even premiered. Now, I will say this about South Park. One of the things they did that was very intelligent because you're saying South Park suffered, and actually I agree with you, they did, but they made a big comeback. One of the things that South Park did to stay popular and to stay good is that they used real life events to influence their stories. So, when something happens in real life, like the Obama election or something, in real life, they make an episode about it. The Simpsons, always tries, but they're just not as cutting edge or controversial. And I think South Park's ability to be controversial has helped them. I think Family Guy has fallen off, and I think American Dad, I haven't seen too much of it, but a lot of my friends tell me that it's actually still good. I think didn't it get canceled though?
I don't know, man. I do not follow
Yeah, I don't
Seth
know either.
MacFarlane. I don't follow any of Seth MacFarlane's shows because I know
They're all the
it's my
same.
opinion. Yeah, I don't find anything that Seth MacFarlane does funny. I don't find Ted funny. Any of his movies he's done, I just do not like them. So that's my opinion, though.
I respect that. And now, what are your thoughts on Futurama? Because they made a comeback and they were
Um,
awesome.
Yeah, like Matt Groening's alright. I don't mind his stuff. I don't enjoy Futurama as much as I did early Simpsons though. Futurama is like one of those things I'll watch if it's on TV, but I'm not going to go and buy like the DVD sets or whatever.
I've been meaning to watch the rest of it. I never got around to it. I've only seen the first 2 seasons, so I'm behind. Why weren't the other androids installed with power sappers from Caleb Brookmeyer? What do you think?
Well, Dr. Gero made 19 for a reason, to convert himself, obviously, and he made the energy sapping models basically so they were easier to control, and that was noted in the anime and the manga. 17 and 18 are eternal energy. They have eternal energy generators inside them, so they continuously create ki. They don't need to sap energy. So 17 and 18 were more powerful. They didn't need to sap ki, and that's pretty much why he didn't make all the androids have power sappers, because I don't think he thought it would be beneficial to their model because they have eternal energy adapters. There's the argument of whether they could sap energy and become even stronger, like 17 and 18 could have absorbed energy and become even stronger, but I just feel like because of the brief period that 17 and 18 were villains, they weren't really even villains. They were more, they were a threat, but they weren't ever seen as like the main villains. So I just feel like it was a waste. It would have been a waste for Toriyama to write them with power sappers, because that's not what they're about. The whole mystique behind the 17 and 18 is that they didn't need power sappers because they created an eternal amount of ki, and they could just fight for as long as they wanted to. So it's really no point in a writing sense, and for Dr. Gero to even make them.
Well, not to mention, to add to what you just said, remember you did a video with our boy Juan and Quinn about this. There's also logic behind the fact that he made them for the sole purpose of being absorbed by Cell.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
Cell couldn't absorb 19 and 20 because they have no, I don't believe they have any actual, other than the brain tissue, I guess, for number 20, they don't have any actual, biology. They're just robots.
Yeah, exactly. And it's that thing, they made a statement in the show and a line, 18 said, why didn't you make 19 an eternal energy android? Because basically they're harder to control, and 17 and 18 were made for that reason, like you just said.
Yeah, the rebels. Will you answer this question? Yes. Okay, I got one for you right here, Jay. You're going to enjoy this here. Super Jayain.
Yeah, no, I'll happily answer this, man. But
All
read it.
Super Jayain is a Hippocrate. That fool liked the English dub, but now after he met you, he's hating on it. Pathetic. That's not exactly what happened.
Yeah, no. Okay.
Hippocrate.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say anything about disrespectful towards this guy, even though his spelling is pretty bad. What I will say, it looks like it's intentionally bad, though. I still enjoy the Kai just as much as I ever did. I still love Kai, and if someone said you have to watch the show in Kai in English dub and it was Kai, I'd be cool, thumbs up, don't care.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, dude. It's more the way I look at the Japanese shows. Once you've watched it start to finish, and you really take note of the dub changes. It's just more of a pure story. As a real hardcore fan, I feel like any hardcore fan that takes the time to watch the Japanese dub will get something out of it. And I just took enough out of it to make that my primary way to watch the show. I never said I hate the English dub of Kai. Hate's a pretty strong word. And whilst I don't hate anyone's choice, especially the original Funimation dub, if they want to like that, that's thumbs up to you, man. I'm happy for you. But I definitely don't hate it. I just don't think it does the show justice. It doesn't do the story justice. The original dub of the English one, of course, the original English doesn't do the show justice with the story. and a lot of other elements as well. There's just the voice acting. Put it this way, I will say one thing, man. I'm not going to go on a rant, but if they didn't make, they could leave Bruce Faulkner's music in there, leave the voice actors exactly the same, all that stuff. If they didn't make the dialogue changes in the original Funimation dub from like 1997-8, if they didn't make those like dialogue changes, I would respect that version of the show a lot more. But because they made the dialogue changes, I just don't like it. The music is fine. If you want to leave the Bruce Faulkner music in there, cool, go for it. But the biggest detraction from the original version of the English show is the script change, and I don't respect that at all.
I agree. All right, why is Rhymestyle a retard? I mean, he wanted Dragon Ball Super to kill off Dende, but doesn't he know there's a new Namek? But he says a lot of idiotic shit. No, I mean, nobody's perfect, but I don't think him wanting Dragon Ball Super to kill off Dende is really a retarded thing. And I'm pretty sure he does know there's a new Namek. I don't know what killing off Dende would affect new Namek. I don't know, Jay. Why is Cell green?
Because that's the way... Well, actually, when Toriyama colored him in the manga, he wasn't green, but obviously when Toei was doing the anime, that was what they discussed. They probably had a sit down with Toriyama, and they decided to make Cell green, because if I remember correctly, when Toriyama's original coloring of the manga, he colored in Cell gray, if I remember.
I think you're right. I think he was gray originally. I have to go back and check. I think you're right. This guy says, different. I don't remember Roadkill Possum. Why do you hate for Neverworld so damn much? Look, fuck. I say a lot of things about a lot of people, which maybe I shouldn't say. It's not that I hate for Neverworld. Like, I don't know the guy, but I hate the fact that he's not very well researched, and I hate the fact that for a channel that big, he doesn't do his homework. We've said it time and time again that if you're a big channel, especially as big as him, you have a responsibility to put out, honest and truthful information, and he doesn't do enough homework to justify his numbers. If you're going to make money off the fucking community, bro, which is what he's doing, if you're going to make money off of Dragon Ball, at least respect it. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, man, I agree with you 110%. All
right, now here's a question that I really want you to dig into, bro, because we talked about this off air.
I did. I delved deeply into this in my super review.
Yes. Yeah. I think ChiChi should divorce Goku. LOL. I felt so bad for her after episode 17. You actually have a difference of opinion on this.
Okay, I lost subscribers. I mean, I gained them back, so I'm not going to bitch about it, but I lost a few subscribers yesterday because I went on a rant about ChiChi on my episode 17 review.
Are you sure you lost them? Really?
Yeah, I lost them and then I gained more. I did notice that I had a bit of a dip yesterday because I basically went on a rant about ChiChi, which was funny because every single person in the comment section agreed with me. But ChiChi in episode 17 was being a complete control freak. She was being a bitch for no reason. She basically told Gohan and Mr. Satan off for throwing Pan up in the air, and then she told them off while she was holding Pan on the end of a chair. She was standing upright on the end of a back support for a chair. Yeah, that's real fucking responsible, bitch.
I didn't even pick up on that.
And then she proceeds to lock Videl in a room and tell Videl how to raise her child. She wasn't really giving her an opinion. She was basically forcing her opinion onto Videl. Thankfully, Videl said, I'll raise Pan how I see fit. That made me happy when she said that.
That's some good development for Videl.
Yeah, and then she doesn't care if Goku wants to go off and train with Whis because it could benefit the Earth in case someone shows up to destroy the Earth.
Like
she doesn't
Frieza?
care if the Earth. Yeah, she doesn't care if the Earth gets destroyed. She only cares about herself and her marriage. It's very selfish. I think that she's gotten worse than she was in Z. And hate's a strong word, but if I hate anyone in Dragon Ball right now, it's ChiChi. I fucking hate ChiChi right now.
All right. I mean, I agree with all your points. I do feel bad for her though, in that Goku's always leaving her.
He's always been like this, and she seems to be like, it's just one of those things. Like, ChiChi should be used to this by now, and I feel like because Gohan's grown up and has moved out, she now takes all her anger out and all her frustration out, and because she can't tell Gohan what to do with studying and all that, she just tells Goku what to do.
What about Goten?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Why aren't they writing her to raise Goten? She doesn't need to raise Goku. Goku's not going to change as a character. Goku's traits have been written the way they are, and they're never going to change. So I just feel like it's being unrealistic writing her that way in the story. That's just how I feel.
It's just bad comic relief.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
All right. Who drew Dragon Ball Minds? Was Toriyama or did Totaro or Nahoishi do it? Toriyama. That's very, very well-known information. Look up Dragon...
it's in at the end of Jacko the Galactic Patrolman. It's the last chapter.
In fact, that's the whole controversy behind Minus, that it was Toriyama. That's
Yeah.
the reason why it's so controversial, because it is Toriyama. If it was any of these guys, fans would just write it off as being non-canon. Who
And
cares?
that,
But because
yeah,
it's
well, that's
Toriyama, it fucks everything up.
yeah, well, that's the thing as well. I will say that everyone always says, like the people who always praise Toriyama, and they go to the first ones to go and sit on Toriyama's dick when they're trying to make a point. I will say this: Dragon Ball Minus is not better than the TV special, Bardock. The Bardock special.
That's right.
And that's proof that the original author doesn't always do it better, because he didn't do that story justice at all. So that's why my view on canon's very much changed these days.
Yeah, canon used to be whatever Toriyama wrote, and it still can be. The problem is that now, with Toriyama writing Super and these movies, there's a lot of more contradictions than there were before. So it's a mess. Did future Gohan or did future Bulma ever try to seduce future Gohan? First of all, I don't know. That's already the answer. But he was a father figure to Trunks and looked like Bulma's ex-boyfriend. The answer is no. And I think, Jay, we can dig into this one real quick. I think the reason why she would never sleep with Gohan is because even though she was lonely, two reasons. Number one, Gohan was too much of a goody two-shoes for her. And number two, it's kind of weird that it's weird if you like have known a kid since he was like 4 and you want to seduce him. Like, it's not something that's never happened before, but it's not very common with women, because she kind of sees him as like that little boy, and it just doesn't seem right. Knowing real life girls, women don't usually like. It's happened before, but I've noticed.
And I'm pretty sure in that TV special as well, she refers to him as Gohan-kun, which means she kind of sees him as like a little brother sort of thing. So.
Exactly, yeah, and that's what he is, yeah. If mortals can't sense God Ki, how did Goku instant transmission to King Kai? I think King Kai Osama, does not have God Ki. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no. I mean, he is able to telepathically speak with Kami, who is a god. He's god of Earth. So, I mean, I think he is a god. I just think it's lazy writing and just a plot hole. Goku, it's the same thing. Goku should be able to, realistically, after Goku having absorbed a God Ki, he should be able to instantaneous movement to Beerus's planet, in my opinion.
All right, that's fair. What would you think if Gohan and Videl had more kids, not just Pan? Do you think it would be too much of a retcon, or would it be a fun, interesting thing to happen? Maybe someone Pan can actually train with. I'd be okay with that, but it would have to be after the end of Z.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. All right, Dakota Fitzgerald writes, what's your favorite kind of food, and love your content, keep up good work. First of all, thank you. I don't know if I have a favorite kind of food. I love Mexican food. I love Thai. I love Italian. I love sushi. I love all food, bro. Do you have a favorite other than margarita pizzas?
Well, I mean, I don't have a favorite food per se. It's just I enjoy a lot of different types of cuisine, like the ones you've just named, Italian, Mexican. I love, sushi is fucking fantastic. I love sushi. And then just your everyday kind of junk food, like packets of potato crisps and, ice cream, chocolate, all the good stuff that's bad for you, I like.
All the good stuff is like women. They're bad for you. And they are, folks. Listen, I was going to go on a little thing. Look, don't fall in love, all right? Just trust me. Do what Jay did. All right.
I agree.
We got a few good ones here coming up from Toussaint YT. Mr. Toussaint YT. Hey, Geekdom, how would you have felt if DBZ from the dubbed era had a better translation and the voice actors were doing the right type of feeling like the Japanese voice actors, also the dub voice actors for animation, stuck with the purity of the manga Japanese anime from the beginning? I mean, that would have been great. I mean, I don't know what else to say to that. I believe, Jay, that if Dragon Ball were dubbed correctly from the start, with the correct voice cast and the correct, promotion, I think it could have been a show that would have been on prime time. I've always felt that way, and people would think I'm crazy. I think it would have lasted on Simpsons time slot type shit.
Yeah, maybe. I know for a fact that you still prefer the Japanese version just because you prefer the original way of watching something.
Yes. But here's the thing, Jay. Here's where it gets interesting. Maybe I would have never even seen the Japanese version if the dub was right the first time. How about that?
Yeah.
It's very possible.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, because Dragon Ball was kind of the first time in my life where I actually realized that things should be seen in their original form. With movies, I used to have Godzilla VHS tapes, and they were all dubbed, and it wasn't until I got older that I got into watching it in subtitle because it's the real version.
I feel like Kai though is almost the perfect dub. I mean, the only problem with Kai is they go from saying Kienzan Makanko Sapo and stuff like that to going back to saying Special Beam Cannon and Destructo Disc later in the series. The Kai dub really is as close as you're going to get to a perfect dub, in my opinion.
What do you think of the Sufu Jins? What do you think if the Sufu Jins were still alive and they were sort of similar to the race of the Saiyajins, but they were still good with technology, and instead of transforming into great apes, they became a different kind of animal so they could rival with the Saiyajins? That's more of a fanfic type thing. I mean, what animal would they become?
I don't know. I think it'd be cool early on before the Saiyan arc and Dragon Ball took place, because it would be, a war between two races on one planet. So it'd be good for like a small like TV special or an arc before that takes place before Dragon Ball. But I don't think it would fit into the current Dragon Ball story.
Yeah, unless you did something in GT where like Baby and Dr. Miyu and them, like, you know what I mean. They did something bring the race back or something. All right, a couple more questions before we get out of here. Hey Geekdom, I have a would you rather question. If you were to be reborn in a different race, would you rather be a Saiyajin, Sufurujin, Namek Seijin? This guy knows his shit, bro. He put Namek Seijin. I'm very proud of you. Majin, artificial human android cell race, or a Frieza clan, aka Frieza race? I don't know, man. I wouldn't be a Namek because they can't fuck. That's already a no-no for me.
I'd go artificial human.
Well, what kind? What kind?
The eternal energy ones. You live longer. You never need to sleep or do any of that sort of shit. You just have internal energy. Like, imagine how much you could accomplish in your lifetime if you're an artificial human.
You're right, but you would have a long lifetime. What about Saiyajin though? They have that.
I mean, that's the obvious answer, but it's one of those things. Like, if I could take traits from Dragon Ball and place them in real life, I wouldn't just go for all the power because power makes people corrupt. So I'm just looking at it realistically. If I could be any of them, I'd probably become an artificial human. I feel like that'd be the most fun to be, because you could still fly, you use ki, you'd be good at martial arts. It'd just be one of those things. I think artificial human would be the all-round the best lifestyle choice. I
agree. The only other one that I think would be cool is to be a Frieza. Well, I'd be a Majin maybe, but it depends on what kind of Majin. But a Frieza race, because the Majins are basically just under Babidi's control. There's no actual race.
On an unrelated topic, Bando Namkai, if you happen to see this, add artificial human as one of the playable races to Xenoverse 2, please.
Yes, please do that. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. They won't see this though. I would like to be one of Frieza's clan just because I want to transform. I think that would be cool to transform in front of people. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's finish up Mr. Two-Stain's questions, then we're done here. He's got a few more down here, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. Let's play it by ear. All right.
I'm in no rush. Man. I'll stay.
No, I'm just this is therapy for me, Jay. Hey, Geekdom, if you wanted one of the Earthling fighters such as Kuririn Yamcha, why is he doing this? Jay, why is he doing the Japanese terms? Is that trying to get on my good side?
I mean, he's, good props, man. You've done your research. You know how to watch the show, I guess. That's all I can say.
I know, right? Tenshinhan or Oob beyond par, Goku Vegeta, which one would you want? Keep in mind, I said if. So if the Earthling fighters could ascend higher like a Saiyajin or a Namekian, which one of them would you want? I always wanted... I don't care about Yamcha. I'm sorry. Look, Yamcha's a funny character, but I don't care about him at all. Kuririn and Tenshinhan, I would love to get boosts to become relevant again, especially Tenshinhan. I thought he was kind of left in the dust unfairly, but Oob seems to have the most potential. But I gotta be honest with you, Jay, even though Oob is a cool character, I always thought out of these four, Tenshinhan was the coolest one.
Yeah, I mean, I like Oob. I just feel like Oob was a wasted character in GT. Like, you see how awesome Oob is at the start of GT when he's fighting with Goku in the Heavenly Realm, and they're training and they're just even. Like, Goku and Oob seem to be completely even. Like, it's just so badass, that scene. But and then he was wasted after that. But I like Tenshinhan. I just feel like Tenshinhan should not have Chiaotzu as a support character. I'm sorry. I just strongly think I really think Tenshinhan would be so much more of a better character in Dragon Ball in general if he just didn't have Chiaotzu by his side all the time. Yamcha, I actually like Yamcha. I like Yamcha more in Dragon Ball than I do in Dragon Ball Z. I think
Definitely.
he was a relevant character in Dragon Ball, but in Z he becomes irrelevant pretty quickly. So yeah, I mean, out of those characters, honestly, I feel like Tenshinhan's the obvious choice, but Oob as well I really like.
Agreed. Big D, how are you liking Dragon Ball Super so far? In my opinion, I am somewhat liking the retelling of both Battle of Gods and Fakatsu no F. Drop my mic there. Can't wait for the Universe 6 arc to see new characters and a new story told. Jay, we did a video already, you, me, Quinn, and Gabby, about retelling about the Battle of Gods arc. But other than that, are you liking the direction they're going now with the Resurrection F arc? Because I am. I'm excited.
Absolutely. I mean, it's more that it's original content that we haven't seen before. The fact that I get up on a Sunday over here in Australia and I know there's going to be an episode of Dragon Ball Super on, and I haven't seen any of this content before. It's new content. So anything in Dragon Ball that's new content that I completely am going through like a fresh experience is exciting for me. I'm really, really happy that Goku and Vegeta are on Whis' planet training and how they showed how that happened. I definitely, though, I hope that, and I'm going to be a Vegeta fanboy for a second, just let me indulge myself here. I hope that they haven't made Vegeta a god already just through training with Whis for 6 months, because he seems to be kicking the shit out of Goku in the next episode preview. So I'm hoping that he's not a god yet. I'm hoping he's not a god yet.
Well, if he is a god, they need to at least do what they did in the Z series and show a flashback of how he became a god, right?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
I'm excited. Hey, Geekdom, do you think that Frieza is a better antagonist and a cooler villain of the whole Dragon Ball Z franchise because he's sinister, he's durable, meaning he's not even regeneration like Cell and Buu. He has a better story plot to him, unlike all the other antagonists. Yes, that's exactly why I like Frieza. What do you think?
Frieza was the best villain, and he still is in a lot of regards, but he does lose a lot of points with me when you find out that Beerus was responsible for him destroying Planet Vegeta.
Yeah, that really pissed me off. Even though he really wasn't fully responsible, he had something to do with it. Yeah.
Frieza's the villain that you never really see. Like, you see him get flustered against Goku a little bit, and then against Trunks, obviously, but you never see him really just upfront fear someone straight up when he first sees them. And when he first saw Beerus in Fakatsu no F, that was really weird, seeing Frieza like flustered when he saw someone. But I mean,
Beerus-sama!
Yeah, I still think he's the best villain in the entire series. If the most fun villain though for me was Kid Buu, because Kid Buu was just a complete fucking psychopath, and he just did whatever he wanted to do without any second thoughts about it. There was no dialogue involved. So Kid Buu was the most fun villain in the series, but Frieza definitely is the best in my opinion. I know Zeon would say that Baby is the best villain, and I can definitely agree with that as well.
Baby has a great backstory as well. Yeah. Hey, Geekdom, have you ever thought about making a new channel logo to represent your channel? And do you prefer the Frieza Fakatsu no F1? Eventually, I just don't think about that right now. I just want to put out
100,000 subs, you'll turn it to Golden Frieza for your avatar.
Yes, Golden Geekdom. That is going to happen if I hit 100,000, which is not going to be for a while, but we'll see. Okay, here's a good one right here. These two are the same questions, I think. Okay, we'll answer them both together, bro. How do you think it would have played out if King Cold was brought back to life with Frieza? In my personal opinion, I'd say he would have been less arrogant and not challenged the Saiyajins, unlike Frieza, even though Frieza is my favorite antagonist ever. If he was brought back to life, I think he would have wanted revenge too, or I think he would have told Frieza what to go, told him to forget about the Saiyans and focus on the rest of the universe. That's a great question. That's a good question. From what we see from King Cold, this actually makes sense. I could totally see him saying, forget about them. Let's focus on other shit. But I also could see if he was going to get revenge, he would be a lot more tactful about it. I could totally see that, unlike Frieza, if King Cold were to hypothetically unlock a golden form, I don't think that he would jump right into the fight. What do you think?
I think Frieza would perhaps listen to King Cold as well, being his father. Although he does say his father is... See, that's a line I didn't like in the movie when he says his father was filled with, overconfidence and pride
that's
or whatever.
Supposed to be a gag because that's him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I just didn't like the line, but it's one of those things that I definitely think if Frieza was going to listen to anyone, it would be his father. And King Cold just seems to be more brutal from what we saw. I mean, he just wanted to blow the Earth up from orbit in the anime, so
he seems to be less of a time waster.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been more of the movie would have felt like the atmosphere of the movie would have felt like it was more of a threat if King Cold was there, definitely.
All right, we're going to go to a different part of the thing here. When Krillin died in Dragon Ball, could Goku have gone Super Saiyan right then and there? No, because he would have. Right? I mean,
yeah. No, it's just one of those things. I mean, I still feel like Super Saiyan requires some level of power before you can ascend to it.
Yeah, until you hit Goten and Trunks.
Yeah.
All right, right here, you're up. We'll do a couple.
Hey Geekdom, do you think if Toriyama had a lot more control over the Dragon Ball Z sagas back during the Funimation days, during Toonami's era or the redubbed eras, do you think it would have been better or worse? Also, would have filled a lot of plot holes that the people in the DBZ community have been asking. Well, I mean, the dub would have been better. I don't know exactly what you're asking, but when Funimation was dubbing Dragon Ball Z, I should say, and it was on Toonami, it was just one of those things. I mean,
I don't think Toriyama was even aware of it. I don't think he even
no,
cared.
no, America had complete control over that version of the show, so it was all Americanized. It was changed completely. So I mean, if Toriyama said anything to the American people when they were making that TV series for American audiences, he may have given them some advice on what to do and what not to do, but they probably wouldn't have listened to him anyway. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dragon Ball Evolution didn't. There's an example right there. They didn't listen to him. And that's the thing that, a lot of people, I remember when I did my video about the dub a long time ago and the script changes, there were people who were saying, oh, well, that's bullshit, with the whole Saiyan thing. They're like, why would Japan allow the dub companies to do that? And I'm like, you don't know how this works. There's no real jurisdiction between what the English distributors do with Japan. Japan's not going to tell them what to do. They don't have time to micromanage everything Funimation does.
Once Funimation gets the rights to use, once they get the rights to basically distribute it in America, they can kind of, without completely changing the show and changing everything about the show, they got free reign to do almost anything they want, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
As long as it doesn't change the story, I guess.
As long as it does, it still does. Paychecks to Toei.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Let's see here. Personal opinion, choose one. Frieza, Freezer, etc. Frieza. Lamar Gallimore.
Yep.
Okay, here is I kind of want to do a whole video about this with you, so I'm going to hold off on that. Oh, this hypocrite thing. Why is Super Jayain a hypocrite?
I realized you deleted my question on your last Q&A, so here it is again. I'm not a hypocrite, man. Get the fuck over it. Seriously,
yeah,
fuck off.
We already answered that earlier.
Yeah.
What was the most bullshit thing you have ever seen? That's a good question.
But most bullshit thing I've ever seen. I don't know. What in general in life?
I mean,
know, man. Being lied to is pretty straight up bullshit. When people lie to you, I can see through bullshit pretty easily. So, I don't know. When someone bullshits you, that's pretty bullshit.
Yeah, this question. How about that? All right, we'll do a couple more, then we'll get out of here. Oh, here's the worst game you've ever played. Probably X-Men on Nintendo, bro, or Silver Surfer.
Yeah, there's been a few. I know one of the worst games of all time was E.T. I never played that game. That was back on the Super Famicom or something, or the Commodore, I think it was. Yeah, was it on the Famicom or Atari? There you go. Yeah, that was before my time. I was born in the '80s, so even though that was early '80s, I was born in the late '80s. So probably the worst game I've ever played was Superman 64.
Oh, I can't believe you brought that up, man. That's a great
bad game.
I cannot believe that you brought that up, man. That was a bad game.
I'm sure you played it. It's a bad game.
Oh, it was horrible. Yeah. It was just funny that that's the game of all the games. That's the game.
I had to pick one that I've actually played before, so.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'm trying to think of a good final question here, bro. I like this one. The power to stretch your body or so suck dick till they pass out, then you rob them. What the fuck is he?
The power to stretch your body.
Hold on a minute. The power to stretch your body or so suck dick so much until they pass out, then you rob them. What the fuck is he saying, bro?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it somewhere else. All right. How much is that watch you're wearing? That has to be from a movie, bro. I don't
Yeah, I'm not wearing a watch, buddy, but good work.
Whose dick would you suck? What the fuck, dude? Just trolls. All right. This will be the last question right here, bro. I was going to do that one, but I don't want to do that one right now. If your dick was long enough to reach your ass, then you fuck yourself. You're losing your virginity to yourself. You haven't lost it yet. That's fucking funny, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, jeez, bro. I'm trying to pick up a good last question here. Golden Alex from Unreal Engine Gaming versus SSGSS Goku T23. Alex is gonna win, bro. I seen the guy in person. He's pretty ripped. Okay, this is the perfect last question. Would you rather get a blowjob from Bulma or Marin?
Bulma.
All right. I don't care. Honestly, why does it matter? They're sucking your dick. Jay, you could suck my dick if I close my eyes and pretend it's a girl. Ain't nothing gay about that.
No, I'll take Bomber. Thanks.
You don't have that much facial hair, Jay, so like it could be done. You know, if it was,
Oh, I have stubble at the moment, but nothing to write home about.
if it was Mike from Laughing Stock Media sucking, you might think it'd be a different story. All right, we're done. Thanks everybody for checking out the Q&A. Thank you, Jay, for being here, and
Oh man,
check out
appreciate
Jay's channel and go subscribe and watch all his videos, even if you don't agree with him.
I'll catch you later, Charlie Brown.
Yes, later, Charlie Brown, motherfucker. This is not Charlie Wheat. All right, later.